this one. It's fine.
It's all good. All right. Well, it says we're live.
Wait, no, why don't you? Okay, wait. I have the plan. Oh, we're live though. I shouldn't say the plan. The plan is that you kick me out, and then I'll do a really dramatic video about how mean y'all are. They're so mean. They kicked me out. They're like, you don't show up. You don't finish the books.
Well, it's only once, Izzy.
I know.
It's only one
I think one other time I showed up like half done, almost done with the book.
4, but sure, just once.
I think it's like twice I've not finished the book in time.
That's a 50%.
No, it wasn't for this one though. It was for I thought it was one of the Hidden Legacies. That I know I had to miss one. This is what I'm saying. You guys are gonna kick me out. I'm gonna be like, they're so mean.
This is a good cold open, guys.
Acting. I know, you're welcome.
We just know now that the week beforehand we have to remind you and Megan to read the book.
I was gonna say, and I feel like Izzy's issues just like help Megan to not feel like the weak link in this.
I am now
this
one,
is
not
just
the only one.
Like Heather, when you're like, I don't do book clubs, and I was like, Heather, we have a book club.
Okay, this is a book club.
I explained my asterisk with that, and that I love talking about books I've already read and know that I love, but I will not be doing a book club.
Or authors you know you love. This is true.
So.
Right.
This is true.
We're trying to figure out what author comes after this.
Yeah. Hi, Stacey, and hi, Julie.
Sorry, everyone. I opened this holler and yelling and just causing a chaos.
Hi, Francesca.
You're welcome.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to try and be as aware as I can be, so this could be interesting. But I sound a lot better than I did even yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, hello, you got me sounding only marginally unwell.
You do sound much better than you did last night.
Yeah.
/ yesterday morning.
Yeah.
For you.
It's amazing. Like I couldn't talk on I think the last time I filmed was the end of my rare vlog. And that was I filmed that Monday morning. And then after that I couldn't talk. Like I'm done. So this is an improvement. Well done, because I read this 3 times this month.
I'm over here like not like halfway through my first time. It's fine.
I think before we spoil the end of the book, we should have Izzy tell us what she thinks is going to be the end of the book.
I think so.
That'll be fun. I'm upset because I would like truly deeply enjoyed the book. Was like, oh cool, I have plenty of time tomorrow to get it done, and then just chaos.
And what's the lesson that we have learnt from this experience?
I have to finish it on Thursdays. And if I don't, y'all gonna yell at me.
I personally could have already told you this.
I am just proud of myself that I finished the book on Wednesday.
Leave me and my chaos life alone.
It's okay. Life happens.
It's just like Murphy's Law. If you leave it for the day of, that day will not go well.
I just normally listen. I can't talk about it. We talk about off air what all is going on right now.
Yeah.
If I tell what I tell you, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, now I get it.
Oh no, I believe that you have legitimate reason.
I know. It's just that thing. It was that thing where like there was nothing going on.
There you go.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
There was nothing going on.
I like it.
That's what you mean.
Today the world vomited on me. And punched me in the face.
That's awful.
Millie is pissed because I won't open the door. I kicked her out.
Today I took a half day because the past like 2 weeks have been awful at work to the point where I was working till midnight, like at least a couple times. And so I was like, I literally told my team on Wednesday, I was like, hey, I'm taking a half day on Friday. And they were like, good for you. And then this morning I told my like boss, I was like, hey, I'm leaving at noon, just to let you know.
Do you get paid hourly at the very least?
No.
Do you not work till midnight for them?
That's psycho.
Megan! We have had this discussion. I am mentally ill and cannot.
I thought we fixed you.
No. But look, I also made really pretty yarn. And I set up my streamer lights. So
fancy.
I love it.
I'm happy about all that. I'm not happy with you.
I'm not either. I know that part I'm a little like
jerk faces.
Listen. I'm gonna come drag you out of work when I'm in Texas next time now. Like, get out of this place.
Please do that.
I will.
All right. So should we have Izzy say what she thinks? Because if you got 50%, what do you think is going to happen in the book? Because once we start talking, I don't think we can guarantee.
Okay, my dream scenario currently is he recreates Twilight's meadow scene and finds a way to sparkle.
So much.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't either is the problem. But I mean, I know this isn't what happened, but that's my dream, right? Is that Arlen decides that he read Twilight, so he understands how Americans view vampires, and he's definitely not going to listen to Mom's opinion on this, or think about the fact that she's like lived with vampires. No, he's going to go like paste himself in glitter and lay in a meadow and tell her to look at me. I'm the face of a killer. And she's gonna be like, same bud, same.
That's funny.
I think we're gonna end with them like actually in a relationship, honestly. I feel like we're getting there to her like maybe accepting it, as much as his mother is like, I don't like this, but I guess like I'm gonna have to go with it because you don't care what I think. Which, like, props to him for not giving a shit about his mom's opinion.
I could never.
Yeah. Can I just say, like, this is my favorite book in the series, and it's kind of like an attribute of this. But like the first time I read it, this was my favorite one of all the ones that I'd read, and I read it back, and I'm like, no, I remember why this was my favorite, because it's just so funny, and they're two really strong characters, perfect for one another.
They are.
Like, I don't have any regrets about anything in their relationship. But oh my gosh, I love this book.
You can't ask me these things because I will give you the most banana pants possibility. Yeah. Where's the fanfic? Yeah, that would be great too if Helen like threw a glitter bomb at him and he just went and laid in the grass.
Having prank him with glitter would be amazing. That'd be amazing.
I love Helen. Yeah, it was great to just have a bunch of Helen in the story.
She's so cute. She is definitely continues to be one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. All of them are my favorite characters in this book.
I mean, everyone keeps taking, I don't know, they're all fighting for first.
Yeah.
In the pit.
They're all great.
The series has the most like great characters in it out of like all of them, because the others I can like at least rank characters, and it's not like, no, like they all are just amazing. I love them all.
Yeah, I'd read books about any and all of the above. All right, should we talk about what actually happened in the book, not just what is happened? I know madness, right?
I know,
absolute madness. Yeah, the snark in this is off the charts.
I mean, I literally purposely messaged the group chat when I was like, "Oh my god, he has Twilight! This is amazing."
I did love that.
That maybe I laughed like out loud while I was listening to this book when he said that. I was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
I love how like chill Maud was, that Arlen had like a crush on her sister before they met. Like she was like, yeah, no, Dina's great. Everyone would love her, or anyone would love her. But like it's very clear that you do not hold a candle for her at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, this was very nice. This was like she would catch anyone's eye.
She's mature about it. And also, I think it helped. A couple different things helped with it, in that when Maud comes back, Arlen is not pursuing her sister in front of her at all.
Yeah.
And also, her sister very clearly has already found the love of her life. And that's what Maud is dragging her for. And, his little human woman crush was not a big deal.
Yeah.
And even Arlen just admitting that part of it had to do with being in competition with Sean for the sake of being in competition with Sean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which like tracks for him so well.
Right. Yeah, that whole conversation was good and definitely kept it from being icky at all. It was like, yeah, no. Even if we were all humans, I would still buy this conversation that it's okay that at one point I flirted with your sister.
Yeah.
And I have a sister. So, like, it would have fallen within my comfort zone for all of that. So.
Yeah. So I just really liked that. Not having to have the jealous, like, insecure, like, oh no, you really like her and I'm like your second choice. Like, I don't need that. And this didn't have that. And it's like good.
Right.
And well, and like it's not like, I just feel like they're equal play. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're kind of equal players, like as sisters, even though they're sisters. Like, we don't need to pit them against each other in that way that most books would have done, which, like, I hate.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I really liked at the start when Maud is talking to Soren before they get off the ship, and she's like, "Well, yes, let's not tell his mother that I said that I rejected his marriage proposal." He's like, "Well,
too late.
Well, about that,
too late. Because we already
told her." And not only did he tell her, but he also basically said, you know, make the household presentable. Like it wouldn't have been presentable.
Offended her in every possible way.
Yeah.
And Maud knew right away and was like,
just like,
we decided to bring it up. Great.
Yeah, this isn't awkward for her at all.
Nope.
Caused any issues.
But that said, I do really like Arlen's mother. She's so great.
I do love that even though the adults like had issues with each other, they didn't take it out on the kids. Like there was never a like, I don't like your mom or I don't something, so I'm going to take it out on Helen. Like there was none of that. It was just like, oh my God, child.
They literally tried to kill her, but sure.
Yeah. Everyone loves Helen. And Arlen is just
the people that tried to kill her.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like I also love when he's talking to his mom about Helen, and she's just like, "What do you mean they wouldn't protect the child?"
Yeah,
like I love that moment where the mom is just like,
"Also, bad guys don't count."
Yeah, bad guys don't count.
I'm talking about
kill everyone.
I'm talking about neutrals and goodies. Bad guys don't count.
I know. And you're right. Also, even like with the stuff that did happen, and I'm just gonna call it the nursery or the children's party or whatever, when it was like, oh, that's not good, and it was like, no, the adults have it handled. They're not like treating her unfairly. Both children were told what would happen, and that's exactly what they're gonna get, and it's not gonna be, awful or anything. Like I really appreciate all of that as well.
Yeah, I felt like a well thought out, reasonable response to what happened.
I think it was like, I found it really interesting to learn more about sort of the vampire hierarchy, the structure, the politics of the world. And all of that was sort of subtly done within all of the different things that happen in the story, like Helen getting into trouble for starting a fight, but accepting that she would have the consequences for it, but then seeing what the response was as well, and it being proportionate. So even though they're vampires and they're big, bad and scary, they treasure their kids, so they just want to teach them to be responsible because later on they can do real damage. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it was well done. I really liked Arlen's cousin also. Partially because I really like if you are going to have very catty, I'm going to steal your man from you female side characters, it's really good to also have just good female side characters that are supportive and are not giving you a hard time and all that. And obviously she's like his relative, but that doesn't mean that she would necessarily be on Maud's side. And she was based on Maud's own merit. And I really like, if you are going to have that drama, I guess, with other women, that you have good ones too. And not just, we had the one female character that isn't like them. Stef's our main character. I like when they don't do that.
I did like the scribe who was like, "What's your kill count?" I don't know. Here's the videos, and then they're like, "Wait, Helen has a kill count?" And then they're just all like silent and awkward. And I was like, "Yeah,
Yep.
Your little baby's done some things. That's fine.
Yeah.
Little baby is very fierce.
Yep.
Yeah. I also really liked in the first half when they had the dinner and she helped the weird insect people, like,
yes,
with
I
food
love
that
that.
they could eat. I thought that was a really, really like a good key moment to develop like Maud as a character and her experience in space.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, we know like obviously she's been in space, but I felt like that gave us like, no, she's like been there and interacting with these people and different species and understands them and like
also,
helps them avoid a faux pas kind of.
And also you get some of that expertise just being the child of innkeepers and how valuable that is. I did think it was kind of weird that the vampires are a pretty powerful force in intergalactic space travel, right? And just their complete lack of awareness on what the bug aliens would need or want felt kind of weird to me, because it was like, clearly you can't treat every different society that you meet like this, or you would have never made any of the trades and stuff that you need to be this successful. So then why are you so oblivious about this?
I think it goes back to
like just so Maud can save the day, but also
it goes back to the xenophobia. Like they literally said, they're like, "Oh, these people are xenophobic," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, like I could see humans doing that. Like we as Americans make trade with lots of countries, but like that doesn't mean that we like follow their rules or care enough about their rules. We're like, no, it's fine. Like we have enough power and money that like why should we give that much thought?"
And I think like they did some of the setup in that, saying that one, their maiden who would have had the majority of that knowledge, and that they shouldn't be the only person, but the person who would normally guide the ruling house, they don't have one currently. And also that idea that once a race reaches the potential to travel through the stars, they don't necessarily progress because they keep their culture the same,
right?
And we know that the vampires believe them to be superior, themselves to be superior to everyone else. So, yeah, same thing. Like, they pick up little things, but they may not pick up on the nuances of it enough to be able to manage it.
Yeah, like they're like, we didn't serve them meat because we know that they won't eat the meat. That's good enough, right?
Yeah.
And also, like, though their guests were there almost purely secondary because of the wedding that was going on, and that is overshadowing everything else as well. So the like where the focus should have been on their own guests that were there for trade reasons, they can't, because they're there trying to stop the other vampire houses causing chaos.
Right.
So it's like it's really interesting to see how that's all woven in, because you would normally assume that they would be aware of that.
Yeah. I just didn't, like I said, I didn't expect it completely, because I felt like, shouldn't they know this? They're doing this for a long time.
Right.
But also
really interesting.
Yeah. But also just having the merchants there and them just
I love that.
I loved it so much.
That was adorable.
I also
but also not anyone to understand anything either. They're just like, how can I turn this to my benefit? If the vampires screw up, then that's going to be to our benefit.
And also, I loved how Maud was like, it's very convenient how you manipulated my child nostalgia and rescued me when no one is bothering to pay attention to me or anything. That's a real smart move there.
And I love Nuance's reactions, like, yeah. Win some.
I also liked how Arland knew that they were spying on them. I was like, you have to.
Yeah. And also the merchants knew the vampires were spying on them, and they just made concessions around it.
Yeah.
It's like, they can see us, but they can't hear us.
Yeah. So it was cool how they were very clearly trying to get their own political gains, but they didn't really hold that against each other. It was just like, yeah, I mean, it's to be expected, and this is what we're doing to offset it.
Mhm.
And I think having Maud be part of House Kra can only help them moving forward, and probably will actually improve their status amongst the vampire houses anyway, because they probably have someone who is very, very aware of how to interact with other races, as opposed to some of the others.
This is true too. Also, I totally didn't clock, for whatever reason, that we go right back to Dina and Sean in the next 2 books.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we got a novella of them, and then I thought we went back to Maud and Arland. And then I realized I hadn't looked at the covers or anything.
I'm
like,
assuming,
yeah, whatever. Well,
I'm assuming. I don't know if I want to say the very last thing that we find out at the end of this book, because that's
I'm literally gonna finish this tonight. You can tell me. It's okay.
It's not even that bad of a spoiler. I don't feel like
that bad of a spoiler.
It won't make me not finish. So
because I'm assuming that we will have Maud and Arland and Helen in the 5th book, and because at the very end, Klaus turns up to visit Maud and Arland.
Okay,
that's the last thing that you left on. And because we don't have
literally don't even see him, you're just told
you're told that he is there.
But it's also revealed to Maud that he's an arbitrator.
Okay, interesting. Because I wondered that. Because when I realized, when it clicked in my brain today earlier, I was like, oh wait, this is their one book right now. So
yeah,
that's why I was like, we need more, because I love
so many more of their books. I'd read
a whole series. More too. I feel like we're probably not going to get more.
I know.
But I would be happy if we did.
Oh, I was also like, really? That's where we're stopping? Really? That's where we're stopping?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited to pick up the next one.
Well, see, I can see different stories that Maud and Arland could have. Although I don't know whether the Murakami, is that the name of the beast thingy?
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't remember what they're called. So yeah.
I don't know if they'll turn up in the next book because of how it all linked into powers and whatnot. So I'd be interested in seeing where that goes. Otherwise, that would be a really cool sort of story for them to explore, sort of the history of that. But anyway.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Though I don't know. We'll see. I mean, since they're doing their own thing now, and they've broken from their publisher, who knows what we'll get.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is true.
We now get whatever they want. We're at the mercy of Ilona Andrews.
Yep.
I don't like it.
I don't either.
Yeah. Well, Klaus has a lot to answer for at this point in time, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think the thing about Ilona Andrews is that they probably have quite a few, like a lot of more stories that they can tell than that they actually have time to write. They're not like the fastest at putting it out. And we obviously can't get all of the good that they could give us. And so I'm just always, and it's whatever they want to do. Like you were saying, it's kind of whatever stories they want to prioritize to publish or not. And so many of it is a possibility, but we just can't have it all. I don't know what they're going to pick.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
We all want the Catalina books.
Yeah.
Heather and I want another Iron and Magic book.
Yes,
now I want another Allen book.
I'm good without another Iron and Magic book. It's fine.
I know you're fine with that. That's why I didn't say you wanted one.
I know.
I loved watching you figure out which direction to go, Heather.
Yeah, thank you.
I feel that every time. I'm like, wait, which way?
It feels like you're right, and then it's like, no, you're not. And
I always do it backwards first. It's fine.
That way. I don't know.
The Dragon Beast thing, I also agreed that there's a good possibility that we might get more of it. Obviously, we know that Maud had. Have you done this, Izzy? Have you gone to the dragon scene?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It's like towards
They're
the
walking
end.
on the cliff right now. Or they're walking with the lanterns and they're like, well, if a vampire falls off, they're an idiot. And I was like, wow, I would fall off. So thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, that's the.
Okay, so you don't know a lot of things. Holy cow, lady!
Yeah, you can.
She did say she was only 50% through.
And I'm sorry. Feels
Just
terrible.
like knowing what scene you're at, I'm like, oh wait, wait. Okay, dragons. We
Just
find
tell me
out
when to zone out, and I'll zone out.
I'm going to vaguely. We know with the dragons that Maud had an interaction with one off-world, right? So we know it's not just on this world that they exist, and we also know that they're attracted to magical children, kind of specifically. And so I definitely feel like all of that could play into further books. Maybe it doesn't have to, but I feel like it's a possibility because it was interesting to do all of that just for that one kind of fight scene, basically.
Yeah, that does seem like a lot of work for one fight scene.
Yeah, but like because they signaled it with her nightmare earlier in the book.
Yeah,
and then her realizing what it was, because even her explaining to Nwansi about the Murakami and the history that the vampires have with it and why they so fiercely protect their children, like all of that links back into why the vampires are shocked that Helen was exiled.
Right.
That leads into us finding out about Maud's experience with them off-world.
See, so all of the stuff with their family, like treating Maud and specifically Helen so horribly. I am still like really hoping for some sort of showdown with her former mother-in-law. Now that she's
I was thinking I want that too.
And all that. Like I want it so bad.
I really want it.
I want like a short of her like old family finding out that she's in Arlen's family now.
I want them having to like request a favor from her, basically. And like
I want them finding out, and then then it goes to like that.
I want them to eat their words.
Yep. Same.
I don't know. Izzy, do you mind if I spoil
literally, like I'm finishing it tonight. Spoil away.
I want them to find out that she's become the Maven.
Right.
Yes. That's why I said I'm waiting for the drama to happen with that.
Because it would just be so satisfying.
Yep.
I agree, Julie. Very satisfying.
So
I do.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I would like to meet Arlen's older sister.
Far be it for me to monopolize this conversation.
I was going to say that when you said that about her being the Maven, it reminded me of the wedding where she was like, "Okay, these chairs are too high for like 4 foot tall people. And they can't sit in these chairs. They have extra appendages, y'all." And they're like, "What do you want us to do? These are tough tables." And she was like, "I don't care.
Just fix it.
Just fix it."
She was like, "You're telling me you're not smart enough to come up with a solution?"
Yeah. But I want
to see you try to get the merchants to climb up on these chairs. Like, they're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also love that she had all of these people in front of her trying to talk to her, and you have that moment of knowing, I know what you're going to say and I know exactly how they're going to respond.
Yes.
If your issue is pressing, step forward. What do you think? All of them.
Everyone step forward. I was like, how did you not think that was going to work? It was so good. She was like, this will be the perfect solution. And I'm like, this is not going to be the perfect solution.
But I like those little details of how they function as sort of as a house, because we've seen Arlen being followed around by everyone and harassed by everyone every time he walks anywhere.
This is maybe really random, but I would really like to see Maud in the future with her long hair again, because like hair is so important to vampires, and it was so important to her. Like it was really important to her, and it was one of those things that she lost because of the stupidity of her husband, basically. I would just love to see her in the future as like it's all grown out again, and like, you know, she's got everything she ever wanted in life. I don't know. I just really, really want some point where it's like, and Maud's long hair like she had back in the day.
Actually, that was the other thing I was going to say. The way that they recapped everything that happened with us meeting Maud and her getting to where she was, and they like it was like a chapter or two that we had of it. Like that was really well done to recap all of that at the start of a book, because you could almost pick this book. Like I wouldn't recommend picking this book up without reading the others, but you could almost pick this book up on its own, and you've got everything that you need to be able to read it.
It's a pretty contained story.
Yeah.
I to read the others, but I don't think you need them.
I do love this more if you do already know the characters, but that's just enjoyment level.
It's like Arlen's funnier as a character, I feel like, and more enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree.
Having experienced him with Dina, and then now, you know, it's just like, I'm like, oh yeah, you're just so fucking weird, dude, and I love it.
I don't feel like I would fall in love with Arlen as a character in this book. I care about him in this book because I already love him. You know?
Yeah. Agreed.
Can I just say, Arlen playing the video for Helen, and they're like, no, but remember the scene with the head? He's like, no, it's not in this one. They took that one out.
We made it a children's safe movie.
That was really cute.
I do love that they were like, Arlen, why did you fight 7 people in a bar? And so then during the frickin' dinner, he was like, oh man, only 5 of you. I need more. And then like, he was just like, I took on 7. You think you can do better than 7? I was like, oh my God. And then Maud was like, oh my God.
But then like,
Maud was just constantly like, shut up, dude.
She was just like, really? 9? He was like, well, it's not impressive if it's the same number. She's just like,
and I really liked how it wasn't like just motivated by his vanity or anything. It was politically. And also the fact that like it wasn't a piece of cake for him. Like he pretended like it was, but it was not.
Yes.
And this just she's laying into him afterwards.
But she doesn't do it in front of the others.
She doesn't do it in front of the others. She does it in private.
Yeah. Because she understands. She understands how it goes. So she's like, no, this will all be for nothing if I start like going in at you right after the fight.
Yeah.
And that's just another way that they're well matched, that they don't have to explain those workings to each other. It is what it is. And okay, let's get you to your room and pretend like you're fine for now. And then you can pass out in 5 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that we got that scene after we got the scene of Maud fighting his mother. And because it's slightly different circumstances, but same sort of thing. They both have to leave the fight area of their own accord, walking, and they have and live with the consequences of, well, that was a really stupid thing that I did. But I have to face some of the consequences of it.
I also loved that Arlen and his stepfather were having kind of the same showdown that Maud and his mother were. And also that his mother, like, didn't really intentionally do it, you know? And she was like, oh.
Yeah. I had more pent-up rage than I thought I did.
Well, and like they've established quite a bit about how when vampires are, like, in that battle zone, like they do kind of lose the awareness of don't kill this person.
Oh my God. And then Helen jumped in front of her mom with her little daggers, and she was just like, don't hurt my mom. And I'm like, oh baby. And then that's when Arlen's mom was like, oh God, I went too far, and like snaps out of it. And instead she's just like, let's get you some cookies.
Right.
When Arlen told his mother, she would have attacked you. Like it wasn't just a show, and it wasn't defending him. He would have attacked you, and it would have been a proper attack. And I was like, well, crap. Why would a child do that?
And then they saw the video, and they're like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, this child has been abandoned, and
This was how the child survived. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is how the child survived. Got it.
Yeah. Arlen just loves Helen. And
he just loves her so much.
It's so
and I
cute.
just love that there's casually one scene where he just turns around and says, he calls Helen his daughter.
Oh.
And it was just in conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not even acknowledging, they go, that's how he sees her.
Yeah. It's just so sweet. I also love that she's been picking up his like sayings and mannerisms. Like she's like, Mom, she's like, where did you learn this phrase? It's like, Arlen.
Yeah, they're really cute. I think it's interesting, especially stuff what you were saying about the intro and stuff. And I was listening to Mara talk on Changeling Cast today, her podcast about paranormal romance. I was listening to her episode about this book today because I read it weeks ago, and she was saying how it's not that Maud doesn't love Arlen already. Like they're kind of already in love when this book starts. Like if there were no obstacles and there wasn't all this heartache and all of this, trauma, basically, Maud would already like they'd be engaged, right?
Yeah.
But how Maud needs like to earn her place in this vampire house, not just as his significant other, and how she really just needs that I can't find that safety basically of, even if we don't work out or people don't like that I broke his heart, they still have to respect like my place in the house, and my daughter can't get kicked out again and can't lose her whole home and the safety because she won't fit in on Earth as well as I can, and all of that. And that really, and I think if you do look at it that way, the romance in this book does make a little bit more sense, because it's kind of just like you already care about him, but you're saying that you can't be with him, and then like 5 days later you're like, what the heck, yes we can. And it's not so much that she needed more time for emotions to develop. It was more, let me get the lay of the land, let me see what's going on here, and I'm going to fit in, and what the reaction's going to be to me, and if I feel like this is a safe place with or without your protection. So
no, agreed. And I forget where it was, but there's even the scene where Maud says, it's not about marrying you. That's not the it's actually, I need to be aware of everything that's going on. And you trust, like, I trust you and you trust your house, but I don't know your house.
Right.
And even the scene where she's talking to Arlen's mother and she accidentally lets slip all of that conversation. And she's like, well, now I've given them ammunition against me.
Right.
I don't think it was quite as bad as she thought, because it was the same thing. Her mother needed to know what Maud was willing to do for the house as well.
And also, whether you have the political stuff or not, just regular human families that don't have any wealth or any significant things, just because they love their person does not mean that they are going to treat you well or love you because their person loves you. That's not a given. It's not. So the fact that she was like, look, I know you think that everything's going to be fine and they're going to love me and they're going to treat me well and they'll treat Helen well and all of that because they love you. That's not necessarily how it works.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to just take your word for it.
Yeah.
I love how much Maud considers, because she just doesn't want to hurt Helen again or have her hurt. And any weird noise is Millie.
Yeah.
I was like, I hear snoring next to you.
Well, she's not snoring. No, she's belly up for chest rubs.
Oh, okay.
Because this is what she needs
happy
right now.
It's just happy snorts. Got it.
It's just happy breathing.
Yeah. I'm going to say something about that, and I can't remember what I was going to say. It's gone.
About them.
I feel like I have to caveat the noises coming out of my from my area now because she's so loud.
We all assumed it was
Yeah.
a pet, not you.
Yeah, we didn't assume it was you.
I know. It's just like I had to go get her because she wouldn't leave, and I was like, okay.
Aww.
And then immediately it's just like noise.
Yeah.
Noise.
I think Maud is one of my favorite characters in a book because of how strategic she is and the way that she thinks. And it's not strategic in a cold, strategic way. It's a how can I keep myself and everyone around me who I love safe? And
it's
how can I?
It's like seeing the bigger picture and also the details within that picture. It's not that manipulate or anything necessarily. It's you see
it's like
the layers.
Yeah, like all the books that I've read, she's one of my favorite characters because she's just so considered, and she loves her people. Her people are people that she cares about, and there's like 4 people that I would worry about. That I worry about them being injured, and it's Dina, and it's Helen, and it's Arland.
I love how it did not include her brother.
Yeah.
Or Paris. She was just like, I don't know what's up with you people, so I'm assuming you're good over there.
Yeah, she also wasn't worried about Sean.
Yeah, she was just like, nah. Limited.
Sean doesn't need to be worried about. He'll be fine. He's got those werewolf genes.
Yeah. What else? Chat, do you have other stuff you want us to talk about? I know you.
I felt bad about people calling Helen like a hacker and things like that. And I liked how Maud handled it. And Arlen, like both Maud and Arlen handled it.
Yeah.
Like, because was it in this one where Arlen was like, you're not half, you're both.
Yeah.
So like you have 2 fully formed identities, not half of 2 identities.
Well, there's a conversation where Maud asks, "What do you see when you look at Helen?"
Yeah,
and he like, no hesitation, I see a vampire, not because of her teeth, but because of the way she behaves.
Yeah.
And I think Maud was so worried that no matter where she was, that Helen wouldn't fit in. And that idea of her being caged in the inn as well, I thought was really interesting at the start of the book. And it almost being like a prison for someone like Helen, because she just wants to be out there and exploring. And all through the book, all you give her is, I want to go and see this, and my new friend has told me this. And how Helen rationalizes. Because at the start of the book, Helen wants to go back to the inn. And then throughout the book, she says, oh, yeah, sometimes, but not always. If I go back to the inn, then I don't have my friend, and I don't have this, and I don't have that.
Yeah.
And I like that they listen to the kids in the story as well. That they're like, what they're feeling is not invalidated by what the parents are feeling.
Yeah. I also I going back to, I guess, like that and the punishment thing where they treated the kids like kids, but also like, hey, you have autonomy. So like, you do this thing, there will be repercussions. And they're like, I don't know what that means. And they're like, there's going to be consequences for your actions. Right? And they were like, and so when Helen was like, no, it's still worth it. And then proceeds to like fight this child. And she pays her debt. She does. She's like, you know what? I got my repercussions.
Yeah.
And I will pay them. It was worth it breaking his arm. And I was like, good.
It's kind of like the thing where it's like, you shouldn't hit, but like if somebody punches you first, maybe you punch back.
Yeah.
And it's also, I feel like, not a bad thing for a kid to learn that, look, you're not going to get away with that, so decide if it's worth it or not. And if you do decide that it's worth it, then like, that's fine, but you're still getting what's coming to you. And
exactly.
like, and if you're not happy, then when the consequences do come, if you're no longer happy with that choice, keep that in mind for next time. Hey, it felt real. In the moment, I was like, this is worth it. And then afterwards, I was like, no, it wasn't. You know, those are good things for kids to learn one way or another.
Yeah.
So,
but I do like. I was gonna say I like the follow through, like, because saying if you do this, you're gonna get in trouble, and then like they don't get in trouble or something. Like that also is like it gives a bad precedent because it means
But also the teachable moment that Maud had afterwards when she basically said, I get why you did it, and I get that you're accepting your consequences, but also now you've given away your advantage.
Right.
Like, he knows exactly what you're this kid knows exactly what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Oh, and
I loved that part of the discussion too.
Me too.
Because like it was nice for her to be like, listen, you just gave a lot away, and what would happen if you hadn't done that?
Right.
I did like the discussion also later on with when she said, "Am I a mongrel?" and she's like, "What are you talking about?" And then she's like, "Well, if they hate me, I'm gonna hate them back." And like Maud explaining kind of like what hatred can breed and maybe why like we can do this, but we can also approach things differently. I was like, I really like that she's not just being like, it's bad to hate people. Like I was always told hate's a strong word. It's bad to hate people. And like that was the end of it.
Can you just imagine the damage that Helen is going to do as a knight of Housecraft?
Oh my God.
Growing up.
I love that Arlen was like, we need to put her in like command training.
Yeah. Like
it's going to be so good.
Oh my God. I forgot about that.
I can't wait. What?
Do you want us to explain it?
Yeah.
Okay, so
medics.
Something happens and Helen becomes unwell, and the merchants step in with an antidote for it. And then this leads to the trade negotiations between House Kra, the merchants, and the Taki. And basically, when Maud is talking to the medic about needing something to bargain with, because the medics want the antidote that they provided for Helen. They need something big. And so they basically reveal that they had this thing that would have basically made the merchants infertile.
Okay.
And so they basically hand that over to the merchants as a sign of good faith.
They had chemical warfare.
Chemical warfare,
but it's a full case of chemical warfare
for their species.
This just tracks for vampires,
and
though.
Clearly, not the only species that they have something for in that cabinet.
Yeah.
And also, they just hand it over with like no second thoughts, just like, all right. Like clearly, it's not even their only weapon against the merchants alone. They were like,
they had said this is a show one, like this is our show of good faith, but also they were like, this isn't good for us in battle because it's going to take generations for them to fizzle out as like a race.
Yeah, that's wild. That's that. I wouldn't have expected that. Don't like seriously though. Don't worry about spoilers, y'all. Like I know in chat. Like seriously, I'm finishing the book tonight. I assumed something was going to happen with Helen. Like that would have been like my best guess. Also for the plot, because
I also felt
the way strongly. The way that plays out is really interesting, actually, because because we haven't really talked about the antagonists and the wedding party and what it is there.
Yeah,
and they're just out there to kill everyone.
And it makes sense too that. Because, there's so many different things that happen with Helen and Maud, and it's like they're not even key players, but they are clearly attached to Arlen, who is a key player. And so the whole reason why they are like constantly having these showdowns and things is because they're like, well, if we take Arlen completely off his game because he's grieving for these humans that he cares about, then, we'll have gotten rid of someone that wasn't important, but then we'll also have compromised someone that was important without actually taking them out and having to deal with the political consequences.
I do like when Maud was playing stupid at the bachelorette party, and they were like, dude, just piss her off. Like, how hard is it to piss Maud off? And Maud can understand them. And so she's just like, I'm just gonna pretend to be this way. And
Well,
then
even if she
she
didn't
like
understand-
starts turning the questions so
Yeah.
that the other person gets insulted, and I was so happy.
We don't do that on Earth. I don't know what you do.
Is that a thing for your culture? What? No. Oh, so you mean this thing then? And they're like, oh, and it was just so good. It was like, oh, because they
I
were talking
love
about
her.
being a pet, and so they were like, are you having sex with animals? Is that a thing here? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
They're like, how does it feel that Arland views you as pet and also
As a
wants to
pet.
sleep with you? And she's like, well, we don't sleep with our pets. I don't know what you
That's
do.
not a thing on Earth.
It's not what we do. But I think I think all of that really makes sense because otherwise, again, why are Maud and Helen involved? It doesn't make sense unless the way they explain it. And then all the stuff with the final showdown, the final battle, all of that was quite interesting. It does feel a lot like Star Wars or something.
Oh, that makes me extra excited for it then.
I love it.
Gee, I wonder why I
also-
like it so much.
I was
like
saying, no wonder Steph loves it so much.
I just feel
I
like
like
we're
the-
on
the jealous Arlen scene after she talks to that gross like pirate captain.
Oh yeah.
But that comes after she's, he makes her a soldier of night, whatever.
Yeah.
Of the house. And then she
resigns.
She resigns, and he can't work out why.
He's so offended.
I love that she literally like hits him on the head.
And she's like,
after she was like, this section of this thing, and he literally says it out loud, and he was like, and she was just like, and just like walks off.
when you read it, Izzy, you will like that
I
scene.
cannot wait.
I
I just love their dynamic. Like, I know I hate that I didn't get further, but their dynamic is so fun, and it's why we read Ilona Andrews, right? Like every book, I'm just like, yep, this is why we read them. All of this.
Yeah. They always deliver.
I do love that Arlen's cousin was like, I wanted to hate you, but you're actually pretty cool. My uncle, my dad was right. The uncle, my dad was right. You're actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's great.
Yes. I was going to say he's going on my golden retriever heroes list.
Yeah.
He's just
He really is.
He is a golden retriever of a hero.
Yep.
Sweet.
Arlen's so good. I do love that his mom is like, what is this obsession with Earthly?
It's Twilight. That's what created it. It's fine.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
He's got to find his Bella.
And also,
imagine them watching the movie.
Not to get into every single detail, but the way that they deal with their problem by securing a better future, not only for themselves but for their allies, I really liked all of that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt really bad for the bug prisoner when
I was like,
because when Maud like ran over and like freed him, and they were like, why didn't you say anything? And he literally was like, you assumed I was guilty. Me saying things would have done nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you're xenophobic and you don't trust my people.
Some powerful social commentary there.
And I was like, I feel that, yeah. People are going to believe what they want to believe. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Especially in such a quick response, high stakes, all of that. You're going in with what you expect to see. And you're not going to change your mind. You could absolutely see the opposite of that. And your brain would still be like, no, this is what we're seeing. So, he was right. Like, there was not... He had to do what he had to do, but then there was no point in trying to justify or any of the things.
Yeah, but he understood that with this group of people that like resort to violence very easily, that fighting them physically or verbally was just not gonna end well for him. So it was easier for him just to be like, yeah, okay, like tie me up, I'll figure something out later or whatever.
Right. And that he was willing to do that. He was like, this is probably not going to turn out great, but
because the bug people are good guys. I also like that Maud when they were like, you can go sit with the insects. She's like, they're not insects. They're like bipedal. They eat like us. Like just because they look like bugs, they're not. They're more humanoid and mammalian than like insect.
She gave like a whole bullet point. This is what you should know about the species, and you, in the job you're in, should know this. And just like press them down and then marched over them.
They talked a lot about how like her parents were like, you need to know about like all of the races, and whoever steps through this door, like you need to know at least enough to like accommodate them.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why Dina is so good at her job too, because Dina got the same lessons, and Maud also, like, they understood the importance.
Right.
Yeah.
Not only did they understand the importance, but they also each, perhaps in their own unique way, have a natural propensity. Is that the right word? Propensity?
Yeah.
Whatever. They have a natural inclination, like a natural ability towards it, right?
Yeah.
Not only have they trained well for it, but they are also well suited to it just in general.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting what we've learned about Maud and about Klaus and what we know about Dina, how they've all taken on different roles that deal with magic from being raised in an inn as well.
Yeah.
Because didn't they say Klaus was really good at language?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it was like Klaus was language, and so it seemed like he focused more on like that aspect of being part of the inn rather than like the culture aspect.
And even though like Maud talks about how Dina was constantly trying to get out of the inn and make friends, and it tracks that she went back to the inn because the inn is where she has the ability to build community, which is what she was lacking.
Well, and also Maud thought that she would just have a regular human life and wouldn't have anything to do with inns or magic or any of the things.
Yeah, when Maud was surprised that Dina was the one, because all the guy said, all George said was, I will send your letter and it will find its way. But he didn't say who he was sending it to. And so she was like, well, it's most likely not going to be Dina, because Dina's probably like married to an accountant with 2.5 kids.
Right.
Yeah. And this.
I need to know more about their parents. So much more about their parents.
I'm really, if we don't get end of series payoff where we have Maud and Arlen and Dina and Sean and Helen and Klaus and whatever if we don't get like an awesome battle scene with all of them working together, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
Yeah.
Which I think we will. Like Ilona Anders does that. That's the thing that they do. So I'm sure we'll get it, but at the same time, like I really want it.
I like that for the most part, like, because we focus so much on how powerful Dina is because her inn is powerful and so she is powerful or whatever. I liked that with Maud, there was very little magic, like, in her abilities to do what she needs to do. Hers it's literally her brain and then like her fighting prowess.
Yeah, it's her skills. Yeah.
And like I think if you'd asked, if Maud had been asked, she would have said she didn't, like, she had the innkeeper magic, what was left of it, but because she had trouble in the inn, even managing that, she probably would have said minimal. And then, like, the only little sort of ounce we get is towards the very end.
Yeah.
And in fact, you know, the idea that it was actually Helen's magic that called to the creature at the end, it wasn't Maud.
Yeah.
Well, also manifested something she didn't think that she didn't know she had.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, that corruption that's hunting the Adhels.
Yeah.
I think that Dina and Maud and Klaus. I think their magics together are gonna show up in a showdown with that thing. I don't know if that will be very final battle, including their parents or not, but I definitely feel like we are getting the idea that there are different facets of this magic kind of, and they're gonna work together.
Yeah.
Do you think her parents are actually alive though, or do you think they died?
1,000,000%. If they're not alive,
I think they're alive.
Yeah, I think they're alive.
I think they're alive.
I don't know. I feel like it would be
Izzy.
We do not need that negativity in this chat, okay?
Never mind. Okay.
I think
This is what's gonna get you kicked out.
Like,
Read
we
along
won't
is
kick you
not
out
a
for only
thing.
being 50% through.
Well,
We'll
no,
kick you
I'm
out.
concerned it's just one of them left, I guess, is the problem.
well, I think
And like
That's
that'd be
even worse.
That it's so
I
dark.
Okay,
Nobody's
so
heard
just
of
three of us
them.
for the next book.
When I'm not here, y'all, no, they came to my house and buried me in the backyard. They took me
I
out.
think
I can't even believe that you would think that they would do that to us.
I think that the
join,
fuss that they've
me,
made
Heather,
over
and
the
Stef next week. No Izzy. Or next month.
Yeah, I'm kicked out.
I
I have trust issues. I don't trust authors.
Andrews.
Yes.
Andrews. Ilona Andrews.
Gives you trust issues.
All authors.
Andrews is the one you can trust.
Listen, it's 4 books and not a peep about any kind of anything with them.
But the thing that keeps coming back up over and over with them is how long Dina's father has survived.
True.
To me, which says there's got to be some, like, whether it's they've been shipped off to a pocket dimension, whatever, or like there's
yeah.
That's true. They're probably in a pocket
believe-
dimension.
I believe that they are thriving but trapped in their inn somewhere, and it's going to be getting to the inn. But
You know, the dad is just like, oh man, I'm trapped again.
They're trapped somewhere that I think is like it's almost and it would have to have something to do with the growing sort of negative magic that's going on. And
I agree. You and me.
Okay. No, I'm here with this theory. I don't disagree with you. I just get nervous because it's been 4 books and we've not made any progress, and it stresses me out.
So, Julie, you think that like their dad was maybe kind of behind, like he was the force that did the disappearing because they were forced into it, not someone snatching them, but him.
Okay, you know what? I like this theory. This also calms my brain. Listen, I just have trust issues when it's 4 books in and we've had no progress.
I think
we don't know how long this is going to be, though.
If somebody's dead, they like come out and say,
True.
You know.
This is true.
And if
I guess what stresses me is their
breadcrumbs,
new publishing, right? Like their new publishing stuff where we don't know anything until like right before it happens. I just feel like, oh no.
Yeah.
But like
once you read Kate Daniels, Izzy, I think having gone through a 10-book series with the same authors and knowing how they lay the groundwork for a lot of the things,
and also
like I trust them a lot more because I know that even the decisions that they make, they're made for a purpose. And look, they don't shy away from killing off characters if it serves a purpose, but I don't see what the purpose would be because there would be no resolution to.
They're never laying down breadcrumbs and then like, haha, just kidding. The breadcrumbs always lead to something. And I think
is true.
The interesting thing about where Izzy is in Kate Daniels is again that she's read several books with a lot of buildup that have been on a macro plot thing that's not really panned out yet.
Yeah. So I mean that doesn't help either. Like that I've not finished Kate yet. I know that. Like probably for seeing their macro because like I mean we saw it in Hidden Legacy, of course.
Yeah. Well, even Hidden Legacy ends with it still not completely resolved on all the things. You know?
Yeah.
Isn't the first graphic audio for Kate Daniels out?
Yes. I'm waiting for like a couple to drop and then I'm gonna start listening to them.
Yeah.
I have it and I can't wait to start it. I refused to start it before today because I thought I would mix up my plot.
I'm also gonna wait for a couple more to drop and then just like go through them.
I never let myself read ahead because I don't ever want to accidentally confuse the plot. Because I'm sure I would. I'm 1,000,000% sure I would.
Well, particularly with this series, I think I would, because I think like each book is so integral to the next one. So like it's a true series, which I appreciate.
Stacey
second comes out in May.
Yeah. I know you read the last book, or the last book that was out.
Francesca's the real professional here. She's the expert that should be on this live for us.
Right.
No,
we don't know what we're talking about, but Francesca does.
we're having
I'm gonna assume there'll be more, but graphic audio is semi-slow to like share. I feel like they drop a couple and then it's quiet, and then they drop a couple.
I'm going to be really sad because I don't think we'll have a graphic audio for the most recent book.
We don't.
I read it.
It is a 16-hour audiobook, so I will be starting it the Monday before the live.
The next one is
the next one
the next one's
the novella has a graphic.
Novella.
Yeah.
It does have.
Yeah, the one after. I'm sorry, the one after I will be starting the Monday before the live, or Friday.
That one does look massive.
It's 16-hour audiobook.
Next one is the novella, right?
Pages long.
Yeah, next is a novella, and after that is the very long one. Which the novella has a graphic, and we don't have one for the last one.
Yeah, because it just came out in December.
I know. It's so sad.
That's okay. We will survive.
That's the other thing. Like, we've all been reading Ilona Andrews for a few years now. But I was listening to Mara, and she was talking about how, like, she's really frustrated with this book, kind of like Izzy was saying, actually. She's really frustrated with this book because it's like, you don't know when the next book is coming out. Things still aren't resolved. You don't know when or if you're going to get any of the things. And also, she was talking about how, like, Arabella's trilogy, she's been waiting for it already for like 7 years now.
And I've been reading Ilona Andrews. I started Ilona Andrews early in my romance reading, which would have been 2009. I think I started reading romance, or 8.
Yeah.
And then sometime within the first couple of years, I started reading Kate Daniels and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been in and out of their books for a long time.
Kate Daniels is still going on. Like, not like that original series, but like the spin-offs and stuff, they're still writing them.
But I think it's really interesting. One, I think it's a good sign that, we want these books because we were invested in the world. So they've done a really good job in creating something that you go, no, I really want to keep reading, because there's so many series that you go, oh, I can read that, but I can put it down and I can come back to it later, and I'm not worried about sort of the characters. But it's also a bit of a reflection on the fact that we get used to authors who produce books at such a fast pace, and that's not sustainable for everyone.
Yeah.
No, and it's not long-term sustainable. I mean, think about Katie Robert and how many books she put out over like 2020 to 2022-ish. Yeah. And then was like, I have to stop. And I was like, yeah, that's good. You need to stop. This is too much.
Yeah.
Like, that is not sustainable. So, like, I'm glad they're stepping back and, like, doing what's going to work for them better, but I also hate it.
Yes, that's a books right now.
I feel like it's more enjoyable with Ilona Andrews if you do kind of step in now, and like you can finish a whole series. You can whole series arcs rather than like, because they are so good. And part of it is obviously they're slower, but a lot of that has to be, one can only assume it has to be, because like all of their parts do like fit in so much better than the average book, the average plot, the average characters, all of it. So obviously if you're getting that kind of superior product, it's probably going to take longer. But I don't know, waiting for every single book would be incredibly frustrating.
But I do with Hidden Legacy, like the first 3, And then I stopped because I waited. I was like, I'm gonna wait.
Me too. Yeah.
On,
And I stopped with Innkeepers
Selena's.
after book 3 too. I was like, I'm not gonna hop in. And obviously that's really paid off for me now because we're doing all this. But you know, I also quit in the middle of Kate Daniels, so clearly.
The only reason I finished Kate Daniels was because of our book club.
Wow.
I don't know if I'd ever finish it if it wasn't for the book club.
I mean, I love them. I just I stopped back in the day because I wanted more of them to be out. And then I picked it back up, and then I got to about the same point and stopped again, which is right before the one girl's book with the panther or leopard shifter.
Yeah.
It's not Iron and Magic, it's the other one. Gunmetal Magic.
Hyenas.
My brain was like, are you talking about Nalini's thing?
I know, I was just thinking, no, Gunmetal Magic.
No, he's like a shifter. The guy.
Yeah.
Isn't he? Is she too? I don't remember.
They're both,
I was like, they're both shifters, aren't they? Yeah. Okay. I was like, hold on. This is my brain mixing three things.
Like I finished Kate Daniels before we started the read along, but I also took like a 2-year gap between books 7 and 8 or whatever. So
yeah,
it is
understandable. But
that's also how I finished the Side Changing series, and I loved that series. And it was just because I was in a book club with Stef. So as long as I just keep book clubbing with Stef, I'll finish all my series.
This is not a book club.
This is a read along.
Read along.
As long as we keep read alonging books once a month, like a book club with Stef, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm going to be rereading Kate Daniels, probably starting this week. So I
love this for you.
But also, I think of a lot of the series that I read, Ilona Andrews are the most rereadable books from start to finish. I can reread an entire series by them and not be bored by it.
Yeah, no, I've reread Nevada's trilogy like 3 times already, I think.
I mean, the same. I can reread. I think I just struggle. It's ADHD. I can't complete things.
I understand.
It's just I will be like, yep, this, and then fizzle out.
Oh yeah, no. What is it? This, I think in the past 2 weeks, I have gotten over halfway through at least 3 books that are chonky books, and then been forget the book exists. And then yesterday I started 2 books and was like, no, I'm good. And I just stopped them. And then I checked out the American Queen, the Sierra Simone trilogy. I was like, oh yeah, I read that first book. Let me see if I can get my hands on the other 2. And I could. Then they were free in my library. So I was like, I'll try reading these again. We'll see if I can actually get through more than just the first one.
I think I say with that series, you have to read them as fairly close together as you can because book 2 will piss you off.
Oh, good. Then I will also, as I've done with 2 Tal Bauer books, read to the point where I get upset and then drop it and not pick it up again.
Yeah.
And then occasionally be like, I should really read this, finish it up, and then never do.
Yeah. I like the payoff in American King, but book 2, and I didn't get pissed off in book 2 because I kind of figured what was going, where it was going to go. But it pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah, because I got through Enemy of the State from Tal Bauer, the intermission book, and then halfway through the Enemy of My Enemy, and I was like, I'm done, I can't anymore. And then I started Whisper because it was free on Kindle Plus or whatever. I got halfway through that one, and I was like, we are now coming to an end. Saw it was halfway, and then another bad thing happened, and I was like, I'm done with this book now too. So now they're both on hold forever.
Steph, I hear the sirens after you were telling us about the sirens last night. And that's so funny to me.
I do have the window open because it's been very stuffy in here. The one side effect that I've figured out is I've lost most of my sense of smell. I can't smell it. So, and I'm hoping it's just mostly because I've been very sinusy and that it'll once that clears up, I'll be fine. But I'm like, this apartment probably smells like I've been stuck in here for a week.
Oh,
and let me tell you.
I did finish How to Bang the Billionaire by Alexis Hall this week.
Oh, yeah.
We're just now going through what I read this week, apparently. And the other two books the third one was available on my library, but the second one is still like 14 weeks out. So I was like, well, someone else can get that one then. I can't read the third without the second. So now I'm debating just buying them with like credits on Audible. I'm like, should I just buy them? Because I can't get them any other way other than waiting 14 weeks.
14 weeks.
It's so long.
It's not on Scribd?
No. I tried Scribd. My beloved Scribd has failed me on that one, unfortunately, as has Hoopla.
No, do I have it?
So now I'm just like, they're only like, they're under $13 on Audible. Do I just buy them full out? Do I just use my credit? I don't know what to do. What do I do?
Did you enjoy the first one?
Oh, I loved the first one. I love Alexis Hall. Like, this is just what I've learned about myself. I just love Alexis Hall.
Yeah. I think it's worth getting at least book 2, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
And then just do the other one from the library and call it a day. I've done that before where I couldn't get book 2 or something, picked it up, and then went back to the library.
Yeah. I bought them all. I bought them all on Audible, I think. I've got them all in there.
I am not a fan of any play. That's my hot take. But thanks for the suggestion.
I don't like it either.
Actually,
I don't like the way they work.
This is going to be the true test. I wonder if the libraries that I have them.
Only one of mine does. I think it's the Denver library that has it.
Well, I'm just fascinated now by what my library gets. No, we've only got boyfriend material and husband material and Rosalind cake.
I forgot I need to read Legends and Lattes because that gets returned in a week.
There you go.
You'll enjoy that one.
Yeah, I borrowed my friend's account because he has a Seattle library card because that's where he lives, is in Seattle. But he still uses it as well. And normally I don't have to worry about it because he tends to do ebooks and I do audiobooks. So I know like even if we have the same books that we are interested in, because sometimes that happens, I know that mine is the audio ones. So I went and I was like, oh, Legends and Lattes, I must have put that on hold and forgot. Borrow, because it came up as it was like, it's ready for you, like the hold is ready. And I was like, sweet, borrow. And then I get a text message that was like, hey, did you accept the Legends and Lattes audiobook?
Yeah. Well, I share with 4 other people. Depends on which library card it is. And I get texts from my mom who is like, is this yours? Is this mine? Is this someone else's? And then she'll be like, I finished the book. If so-and-so wants to read it, let them know I'm done. I'm like, okay. And then one time she returned a book on me and I was like, I was going to read that. And she's like, I didn't know.
Yeah, my friend was nice enough that he was like, as soon as I'm done with Legends and Lattes, because it's not going to take me long, you can read it too. Because I was like, I thought it was my hold, and he was like, no, it's my hold. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, by the way, did you check out this book? Because it's a really good book. And he was like, no, you're not the only one with my card. You remember our friend from college? She lives in Germany now, so she also has my card. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, there you go. You can tag stuff with your name, like with the tags, but we've tried that system. It didn't work very well for those of us that share.
I mean, this was
swapped a bajillion cards.
I think this was the only one that like we've had issues with, so it's not a deal. It's not a big deal.
No. I mean, what worst case you put it back on hold?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I did that once. I returned a book. I thought it was mine, and then I realized it wasn't my book, so I quickly rechecked it out for them.
Oops. All right. Since we are well and truly off the Ilona Andrews topic now, should we wrap up this?
Yes.
Wrap this up.
Heather's like, I got my planner out.
Yeah, Heather's done.
She's muted herself. Yeah. She's done with us.
Next month is Sweet With Me. We will put out a date for it. So I think we may have a clash for the last Friday. I think Heather and I have a clash for the last Friday of the month.
I think I also have issues for that Friday
we
because
will-
I have BGG Con is happening.
So we will sort out a date, and I will post it in on my community page. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you about the next book next month. Bye.
Yeah, bye.